So today we're gonna do one of my favorite type of videos, and that is where I just talk about the games I've been playing. And there are other games that I'm working on right now for a full review, and honestly, I want to talk about some of these other games that I'm playing, because they're not really quote-unquote review-worthy because they've been out for a while. That sounded bad, that sounded like they were awful, they weren't worthy of the time. No, I just mean like, I won't be doing a really detailed review. But before we get into any of that, please hit that like and subscribe button. Help the channel grow, that means everything to me, and it costs you nothing. Although before I shamelessly pandered to more subscribers, I was getting on a point about a review, and we do actually have a mini review today. Luckily, this is a game that I actually tried to get a review code for and never received it, and I'm really glad I didn't, because this game is incredibly complicated to talk about. This game is called Fading Afternoon, and the whole premise of this game is that you were in like a Yakuza-style gang, you've been arrested, and you take over this character as you're getting out of prison. And there's so many different ways you can think about this going. Is this going to be a revenge story, a redemption, or something else that starts with an R? I don't know. But what is the whole game? And if I'm being honest, yes, there was a lot of me that was thinking about this being like a pixelized version of Yakuza. I love the Yakuza games. They are so awesome. And to be fair, it's not that. And it never promised to be that. It's just you hear a dude who's in a gang, goes to jail, is in Japan. You start going there, right? You want the quirky mini games, the awesome other characters. All of that is going on in your head, and none of that is here. But like I said, it's not their fault. They didn't promise that. They didn't say it. Although, unfortunately, there's not a lot that they do say. There's not much tutorial to this game at all. In fact, it was after I was almost done with the game, I realized you could like ride a bike. This is a traditional style beat 'em up, but with a little bit more pizzazz to it. So as you get into the game, you basically realize that your gang isn't doing so great, and so you need to go back and take over different turf and understand the politics of it all, I guess. You know, everything's kind of changed since you've been locked up, and essentially it's the same thing. You rile up some problems. You have a few turf wars, then you take out the main boss. And most of these turf wars happen just on the street, and that's where the beat 'em up aspect is. But the actual combat can actually be really intuitive. You can disarm people, you can do different grapples and holds, you can do quite a bit. You can use a gun, you can take an enemy's weapon and use that weapon, which I know is the same as disarm, but I didn't say the second part, so thought I would add that in. But no, there's a lot you can really do. The problem is, it is one of the worst designed control schemes I've ever seen. Like, essentially, it's all meant for 2 buttons. So, like, for instance, shooting the gun. You hold Y to hold the gun, and then you have to use B to actually shoot the gun. And this goes on for many things in combat. For instance, the ability to disarm and take a weapon. You have to hold Y, because that's also your block, and then hit B at the right time. So you're basically, your thumb is like rolling between these 2 buttons, and it's a real pain in the butt, and it is really, really counterintuitive compared to how intuitive the combat actually is. The reason I brought up the bike thing is because it's just another one of these many things that you can interact with on the street or in your hotel room, in a bar, and all those different places, but they never actually tell you can do it or even really how to do it. Like, you can hop on a bike pretty easy, and it actually does become important. That's why I keep bringing up this bike thing, because trust me, it does get important. But they don't tell you how to get off of the thing. I barely figured out how to get on it. And that's just one aspect of the game. Even entering combat mode is pretty difficult. You see, you can actually come across different enemies or other gangs, but you have to enter into combat mode to actually start a turf war. They don't tell you that, and it's not that easy to figure it out. I was doing some weird stuff, like sitting next to the guys and like smoking countless cigarettes by them. Yes, there is a smoke cigarette button in this game, which is very weird. This game is also, though, incredibly beautiful. The pixel art is fantastic. It is like so top notch. There is a lot that really encapsulate this game to be high quality, and it's just like they dropped the ball in some major areas. But the biggest sin by far for this game is the fact that it's slow. It is so slow, and I don't mean like pacing or story or anything like that. No, I mean your character. He walks at the speed that one would if they were trying to pass a pine cone. Like, just incredibly painfully slow. No joke, the amount of times that I quit this game mid-gameplay just because I didn't want to spend my time watching him walk slowly, meandering over the screen to another area which involved more slow walking. It's countless. I did it a lot where I was just like, no, I can't do this anymore. It's so bad. And there's no run button, at least not one that I could think of. Again, they have a cigarette button, but no run button. To make this thing really, really give it a bad taste in my mouth is the fact that I paid $20 for it. It's not worth it. There's some really great aspects of this game. Like, I feel like you were really close on something that was special, but just dropped the ball in some major ways. Again, the story is actually really good. There is actually a component of it where your character won't be around forever. I'll just say that if you ever decide to play it. Again, the amount of interaction and things you can do with your character is pretty crazy, but it's just, they just drop the ball in some really, really major ways. Another really fun pick up and play game that I'm playing right now is a game called Bad North. Now, this game goes on sale from time to time, and it is essentially just a very low quality, low poly strategy game where you have two different units that you can set on an island, and you basically just endure an attack. You kind of command your little units, tell them where to go, what to defend. You can then upgrade them, give them different weapons, move on to the next island, and withstand more and more attacks as you keep going. It's a very, very simplistic roguelike experience because there is no real story, or if there is, I don't care about it, and they barely mentioned it. But it is a really fun pick up and play game. That's what I like about it, is just turning it on and being able to just get in and out and just have fun for that like brief 20-30 minutes of a little bit of strategy RPG, but without all the RPG-ness of it. But it's really fun. I've really been enjoying Bad North, and I think I picked it up on sale for like $2.99. So if it's on sale, it's definitely worth a pickup. Then the game I want to talk about, I'm going to keep it very brief, but I want to bring it back up again. The reason I'm going to keep it brief is just because YouTube, gore, censorship, all that. But I did want to talk about it just because I'm still very actively playing Morbid. This game is so much fun. Like, it is the perfect balance of like Souls-like. I've been going back through it again, just trying to 100% it, just actually just have fun, like trying to find big enemies that are gonna destroy me the first couple of rounds and then go back and eventually conquer them. I don't know, this is a great game. I wish more people were talking about it. I wish it had done a little bit better. I haven't heard hardly anyone talk about it, but for me, this is like my Elden Ring for the Switch. I've really, really enjoyed it. And I think I've enjoyed it because it's been a stark contrast from the other games I've been playing recently. It's just the same thing with Bad North and all that, because I have been neck deep in RPGs recently, and I love RPGs, I really do. It's just sometimes I want something different. And like Morbid has been just this great like counterbalance to some of that. And honestly, I don't think I've ever played a Souls-like game this much. Maybe it's me liking Souls-like games more, or I don't know what it is, but I do love this game. But I'll stop talking about it because I know Daddy YouTube is not going to be happy with the gore and everything. But while we were speaking on RPGs, though, another one that I've been playing is Tales of Symphonia Remastered. Now, if any of you guys are familiar with the launch of this game, you would know that it launched in a very bad state. Many people were very upset with the game, to the point that I didn't even get it. And honestly, I love Tales games. Like, they're one of my favorite series that I kind of discovered along the way, and every time I played one, I've enjoyed it. Even the ones that people said, this isn't very good, you're not going to enjoy it, I've ended up liking them. So, Tales of Symphonia, which is the one that everyone says was one of, if not the best, it having such a bad launch, I don't know, it scared me away from it, and I had other games to play, so I didn't end up picking it up. But recently, I would say within the last month or so, it was on sale. I'd also heard that it had been patched up and that the game was really good now. So I figured this was a great time to pick it up, and it was and wasn't. I got it for, I think, $22 or $23, but it was a really bad time because I really, really like the game. Like, I can't say I experienced any of the weird frame pacings or crashes or lags or anything like that, so hopefully it is 100% in working condition. The thing that was bad about this, though, is it really distracts me, because this is a really good game. I can see why so many people said it is one of, if not the best Tales games. The story, you basically start off as the friend of the Chosen. Now, the Chosen One is the Chosen One because she's able to bring mana and more bring life back to the world. The world is in a very dying state because people are abusing mana. You, as Lloyd, are her bodyguard, her knight, as she travels around the world trying to regenerate the world, bring it back to some sort of sustainability. And of course, there are so many other stories that happen, other characters that you meet, twists, turns, so many compelling side quests, and of course there's that action RPG combat about the game that keeps you engaged and keeps you active, and you're also able to switch different tactics and skills and be able to utilize your character the best way possible. And I know there's a number of people who think that the Tales combat system is really easy and it's kind of simple, but honestly, I like it that way. It's just fun, and I think that's the most important thing. For me, is it the most strategic or tactical game? No, not at all, but it is a lot of fun, and sometimes that's all you really need, especially when you have a really good story to complement that combat. Alright, now for the last game that I've been playing a lot lately, but before we actually get into that, I kind of want to go over some games that I've been trying to play, or I had tried to play and they just kind of failed, or I failed them. Starting off with Excitebike 64. I was really excited for Excitebike 64. Never played Excitebike 64. Tired of saying Excitebike 64. But no, the turning on this game and the controls in general, they were not mapped out right. Like, they were not ported over the way that they should have been. I think this game could have been cool, but it is really, I'm not gonna say difficult, yet it's so touchy and so weird the way the controls were on the actual Switch. So yeah, that sucked. Rise, which is another arcade racer type game, the controls are awful. The steering is, gosh damn awful. And I mean, there's a way to mess with it, and I've heard tweak it this way, that way, and you'll actually get the game to work. And once it does, once you have good controls, the game is awesome. But honestly, just didn't really find the time to do it. Yes, I could have found the time. I didn't find the patience to want to do that, because I just feel like, how hard is it? If every other user can do this, why can't the game just do that and patch it in? Instead, it's like you're driving with your drunk uncle while he's on his way to pick up, another six-pack. Another game that I did try to play is a game called Farmer's Dynasty, which starts off really fun. You're building your farm back up, and they've actually made that really intuitive and pretty easy to do. You're replacing the roof, you're fixing fences, really just getting ready to then start growing crops and doing all that fun stuff. But then it just stops telling you what to do. Out of nowhere, I spent a good 30-40 minutes trying to figure out what I was supposed to do next. I got no help at all, and it kind of gave up. I wish they would fix that, because the game is actually pretty fun when it's working. Alright, so the last game that I'm playing, and I'm playing to my own dismay, if you will, is Legend of Zelda: Oracle of Ages. Now, my thing is this. I haven't beaten Tears of the Kingdom yet, and I jumped back to Oracle of Ages. Why? Because it just felt like, I never got to play Oracle of Ages or Seasons. I should play them first. But it has been over a year since Tears of the Kingdom has dropped, and I have not beaten it. In fact, I've only gotten maybe 20 to 30 hours into the game, and I always find a reason, I'll just hold off, and ultimately it's not because what I played I didn't like, it was just because I wanted to save it. I want to know that I have that game, in the, I don't know, I can't even say backlog, because my backlog is filled of great games, but just that it's there. So I'm halfway through Oracle of Ages, and man, is there a bad Zelda game? Really, you can argue Zelda 2 was not that great. I would argue they just tried to do something different, and if you actually played it and got through some of the frustrating combat and some of that kind of stuff, and used a walkthrough, because it doesn't tell you where to go for crap, but if you actually do get into it that much, it is actually a really good game. But Oracle of Ages, man, I don't think it's canon, but I'm having a ton of fun with that game. I really do miss just Legend of Zelda in general. But I really do kind of miss that old school style. I know. So does everybody else. But I do love the Tears of the Kingdom thing. I hope they keep that style going as well. I've heard rumor that there's going to be a Zelda game where you play as Zelda and it's more of a dungeon crawler. That would be awesome. You have one with Link doing the open world kind of fun stuff, and then you have Zelda doing the dungeon crawling, or even bring in other characters, Impa, whoever. There's room here is what I'm saying. But I'm not gonna lie, every time I start up Oracle of Ages, I look over at Tears of the Kingdom and I'm like, I know I should be playing you. I need to play you. I need to make that jump. The thing that I'm most afraid of with Tears of the Kingdom is I'll get really into it and then I'll stop playing everything else for months. I'm going to make my life all about that game. Or the bigger thing I'm scared of is just not liking it and wanting to rush through it. A very fast-paced gaming style I have now that does not always work on games I want to sit back and enjoy. And so, yeah, there's this two-pronged aspect of it that that I hope doesn't happen, and I hope I'm just able to play it at a good pace in the background while I'm also working on other games. But anyway, that's just a few of the games I've been playing. Sorry this video was super long, but I did want to ask you guys what you've been playing. As far as Fading Afternoon, have you heard of this game? Is it something you've been looking at the eShop? Anything and everything down in the comment section. Again, I really appreciate anyone who does let me know what they're playing. I just let other people know as well, and that's how they find out. I know there's a few games, like Bad North is one that I found only because JP was talking about it. But anyway, take care everyone. I love each and every one of you. Bye-bye.